One of the biggest challenges in group coaching is knowing what to pay attention to. There's just so much happening. There's individual needs, there's the group dynamics, there's the group process, you might have content to consider, and you still have your coaching questions to remember. So as a group coach, just starting out, how do you hold all of that without it feeling a little overwhelming? Well, in this video, I'm going to introduce you to 3 core priorities that weave through every stage of our group coaching flight plan and explain how they work together to create great group coaching. If you haven't watched the video where I talk through the flight plan yet, then please feel free to pause this one and go do that first and come back when you're ready. The link is in the description below. And while you're there, feel free to also download the free PDF summary of the flight plan where these priorities are also listed. That way you can track along as we're going. And while you do that, let me just take a moment to introduce myself for those who haven't met me before. Hello, I'm Niky Dix. I'm a group coaching coach and I'm a passionate and curious student of group coaching. My research into group coaching is part of what helped me develop and refine the flight plan and understand why we need to pay attention specifically to 3 core priorities, because in my experience, these are the key ingredients that make the difference between a group coaching experience that's okay and one that's genuinely great. Not just for your members, but for you as a coach as well. So, are you ready? Have you got your PDF? Let's dive in. Okay, priority 1. Did you know the aviation industry holds a legally binding obligation to prioritise the safety of its passengers over any profit it makes? This is called a fiduciary duty. Easier said than done. See if you notice next time you get onto a flight and listen to what the attendant announces. If you listen carefully, they talk about, they're here for your comfort, and then they'll say, but primarily for your safety. And that's our first core priority, primarily here for your safety. Now, the coaching industry isn't anywhere near that standard yet, but I believe we can deliver great group coaching that can act in the same spirit by treating the safety and well-being of every group member as a non-negotiable rather than just an assumption. That's why safety, in the case of group coaching, it's psychological safety, is the first priority of our great group coaching flight plan training. It helps us as coaches remember what's most important. And we can lean into our aviation metaphor and think of it as like the lift, like the force that holds the group or the plane safely in the air. Because without safety, nothing else in the group works. And without safety as a lift in our airplane, we don't get off the ground. Psychological safety is the key enabler to helping the group do its work. Safety has to come first and it has to be maintained throughout the whole journey. Going back to our flight metaphor, we can think about what happens in any flight when turbulence is expected and safety might be compromised. The first thing the crew do is instruct you to fasten your seatbelt. Comfort always comes second to safety. And again, in group coaching, without a genuine climate of psychological safety in the group, productive learning is unlikely to happen. You'll understand if this is the case because you won't see members taking risks, sharing honestly, or doing the work together that actually moves them forward. Instead, they'll stay quiet, they'll be reserved, they won't want to engage willingly in anything. It's also remembering that psychological safety doesn't happen by accident, and it's not something that's a one-off, that you just establish at the start, you set and forget. It's much more, again, like our plane working against gravity. You stop a flying force to maintain your safe height, and the plane will begin to fall. And there are constant forces at play that can pull a group down too. So safety needs to be created and actively maintained at every stage of the group coaching journey. That's why safety is our priority number 1. Now, moving on to the second priority, we call momentum. Think of momentum as a thrust that enables forward progress. Of course, this comes with a caveat that we never, ever, ever push or thrust a group in the direction towards any destination or direction. That clearly is not what coaching is all about. But what we do is hold a space and coach the group in a way that enables members to do their work so they can move themselves forward. And that's the key difference here. And prioritising momentum reminds us that the purpose of group coaching is for every individual within it to learn, grow and move forward towards an outcome that they have identified that's unique to them and that they're committed to achieving. That becomes the group's intended destination. And momentum can be made much easier when everyone in the group has signed up for the same journey. They're all heading in the same theme or direction. Because that shared direction gives the group something to work with and it helps you hold the group to that as well. It's also helpful to notice when the group is getting a little too comfortable for effective learning to happen. And that's important because we don't learn when we're sitting comfortably. So that's why momentum is priority number 2. And priority 2 helps us remember that our role is not just to keep the members of our group safe and comfortable. In group coaching, we are here to help them learn and grow. And that's where we come to our third priority. See, priority 3 is all about tensions. It's how we hold safety and momentum together in the same way, how we address some of the paradoxes that show up in any group coaching experience. It might seem that tensions and stability are opposites, but in group coaching, and actually in any form of balance, stability comes from making small adjustments all of the time. It's more of a dynamic balance than from avoiding things that pull us in any one direction over another. And that's just as well because groups are full of competing tensions and paradoxes, people and forces pulling in all different directions, and there's rarely any single one answer. This means as the group coach, you're always having to make micro choices in the moment that help you hold those tensions well, to know when to prioritise safety, when to maybe risk a little bit of discomfort in the group, which might reduce safety and make more momentum, and how to manage the tension between those two. You're aiming for enough support and safety that people can participate to feel safe and brave, and enough challenge that they can actually grow. And it's when those tensions are held well that the group can metabolise those forces into growth. They become material for learning and change rather than something that destabilises the group. And if we go back and imagine our aviation theme metaphor, tensions represent the forces that hold the plane stable or intentionally take it off centre if it needs to change direction, to bank, to come into land, for example. The skill required in group coaching is understanding what is needed, by who, and when, and then to take action that supports the safety and momentum of the group so they can get to their intended destination. And as we come to land ourselves in this video, there's one thing I just want to highlight about all 3 priorities, and that is they're not static. You cannot set and forget them. They're dynamic, they shift, they change. They require you to keep track as you go and to help your group move through all of them as well. And that's why understanding these 3 priorities as part of the group coaching flight plan can really help you keep track and anticipate whatever's coming next, wherever you are in your group coaching journey. So those are our 3 core priorities: safety, which enables participation; momentum, which supports growth towards their intended destination and learning; and the tensions, which, when we hold these well, can create the conditions for real transformation in your group coaching programs. Master all these 3 and you'll be well on your way to great group coaching. So if you found anything helpful or that resonates, again, feel free to share in the comments or ask questions. And if this is making you curious or question how you might apply these core priorities in your group coaching, then I'd love to invite you to apply for the next group coaching flight plan. That way you can step more confidently from one-to-one coaching into group coaching. And just to be clear, the flight plan is an 8-week group coaching training. I say training, but it's more of an experiential learning program than traditional training. It's actually very meta because you get to experience being in a group at the same time as learning about one. And we pull back the curtain and explore what is happening in that moment as we go. Plus, you get access and support from a wonderful small group of like-minded peers in a community that takes group coaching with psychological safety, change, and balancing all those tensions seriously. There's a link to apply in the description below, and I look forward to meeting you in the community or in the next video.